Joe Plumeri is vice chairman of the First Data Board of Directors, and he served as CEO of Willis Group, Citibank North America and Primerica, done a bunch of other stuff. He's got a new book called The Power of Being Yourself, a game plan for success by putting passion and your life into your life and work. Please welcome to the program, Joe Plumeri. Good morning, Mr. Plumeri.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate you having me.
How are you?
Thank you. Very well.
So you were telling me a story during the commercial about Bill White and Brian Urie. Did Brian used to work for you, or?
Brian worked at Willis Group, and I didn't know why he was at Willis Group until I went to their wedding. And
you became the CEO of?
I was a CEO of Willis Group in 2000 to 2013.
Oh.
And I went to their wedding, and he made the announcement to everybody that the reason he was at Willis was because that was the only company in New York in the insurance brokerage business that gave benefits to gay couples.
Right.
And I didn't know that was the reason he was there. It's well before it was fashionable. I thought it was the right thing to do.
Sure.
So I did it, and didn't know until years later that that's why he was at the group. And a lot of the book talks about doing the right thing and doing what's in your heart, rather when today everything seems to be because it's fashionable and because other people do it, or a poll told you should do it. And so the book tells you, be yourself, do what you think is right, instead of looking at polls, statistics, data, and all the rest of the stuff that goes on today.
So when you started out in life, you got out of college, and where'd you go to school?
I went to William and Mary in Virginia.
And so what did you study?
I studied history.
Right.
Because it was a nice place to study history.
American history, world history?
I studied American history.
Okay. And what did you want to do with your life then?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I wanted to imagine and to visualize that I wanted to have affect a lot of people and make a difference to a lot of people. And I always found myself thinking about myself in front of a stage, in front of a lot of people, doing things that made people feel good. So it was more of a mosaic than it was a specific.
So did you want to was your goal just to make money or no?
No, I don't think it wasn't to make money. It was to make a difference in people's lives, to figure out what I wanted to do. And I think at the end of all of that, if you do it well, then, the economics make sense.
Well, how did you wind up doing, so what was the first job you got out of college?
First job out of college was I was a football coach. And I was a school teacher. I taught history in high school. And then when I...
Oh, you know who did that too? Bill O'Reilly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then I did that for 2 years, went to New York Law School and registered for my classes and got over at noon, then decided I wanted to find a job in the afternoon at a Wall Street law firm.
Right.
So I figure a Wall Street law firm has 3 names. So I went around to buildings, looked at directories, and I saw Carter, Berlind, and wow, I thought it was a law firm. So I went up there. I'm not bashful. And I said, who could I see about a job? And they said, let me make a phone call. They said, go down the hall, make a left, and ask for Mr. Weil. So he said, what could I do for you? I said, well, I'm going to law school in the morning, and I want to learn the law academically, and come here in the afternoon, learn the law practically, and start my meteoric rise to the top. He says, that's a great idea, but what makes you think this is a law firm? I said, this is not a law firm. He said, no, it's a brokerage firm. So I said, well, I got to leave here. I kind of slink down in his chair, ready to leave. Gives me a job, he says, I'll give you a place to work. He puts
Gave you a job?
Yeah, he says, come in the afternoon, and I'll give you something to do. So he sticks a desk in the closet, takes the door off the closet, and I got half of me in the hall, half in the closet, and everybody's whacking me in the back of the head, calling me Joey Baby. I'm getting coffee for people. I'm writing benefits policies. That was 1968. That company turned into Shearson Lehman Brothers, which turned into Citigroup, and I was president of Shearson Lehman Brothers 20 years later, and I remember every one of those people that hit me in the back of the head when I was in the closet. So you got to go out and you got to play in traffic.
What a great story.
You got to go out and you got to play in traffic, and which kids don't do today. And I talk a lot about that in the book because everybody's behind a computer. They think that's playing in traffic. You got to get out and you got to engage, and you got to see people and you got to do things. And I'm excited about telling that story.
What do you think it was? I mean, that's an odd story that you would. walk in and wind up in the wrong place, and the guy still. Why did he hire? Did he ever tell you why he hired?
Yeah, I saw him the other night when we had a book party about the book. I see him all the time, and it was just one of those things where he liked me, and I'm happy I walked into the wrong place at the wrong time, which turned out to be the right company, because there was a lot of little companies on Wall Street in those days, and this one turns out to be the one it turns out to be. I had a lot of opportunities. He was nice to me that day. He found something in me he liked, and you never know, and you just got to go knock on doors, and eventually something good's going to happen. And I want us to return to doing those kinds of things and being ourselves.
So then you wound up running the place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. I tell you something else. What's interesting, Don, is that I quit law school after 3 months. And then about 2 months ago, which kind of puts a period at the end of the sentence, I get a letter from the president of New York Law School asking me if I'd give the commencement speech this May, and they're going to give me an honorary degree, and the one I didn't get when I quit law school 44 years ago. So that's the way life happens, and I think we need to return to that kind of excitement and that kind of engagement.
Well, you remind me of a little bit. Do you know Jerry Weintraub?
Yeah, I do.
Do you like Jerry? You must like him.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Yeah.
You don't seem that enthusiastic about him, no.
No, I just don't know him as well as you do.
Oh, okay. But the same story with him. I mean, why he was in the mailroom at William Morris, I believe it was, and wound up being who he is.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So what I've noticed through the years is that all people, are presented with opportunities.
Right.
We all get opportunities, and but few people seize them.
Right.
Is that the primary thing that holds people back, or the unwillingness to take it, to gamble? Or
I think that there's a belief today that things are not possible, right. And that's the reason people don't ask. I tell the story in a book that we all have a core to us, and my core is anything's possible. We have a core feeling about who we are and philosophy,
right.
And I think anything's possible. Somebody says to me, "You can't do that," and I say, "What are you talking about? You can't do that. You can do that. You can do anything you want to do."
Right.
So in 2009, I made this terrible mistake, and I bought this company for $2 billion. 2009 was not the best time to buy a company for $2 billion, but I found myself with 5 offices in Chicago, and I needed to consolidate them all. Sure. And the best place in Chicago with space was the Sears Tower, because, everybody was worried that it was going to be a terrorist attack and people's leases come and due and they get out of there. So I thought this was a good time to negotiate some space in the Sears Tower. So I go see the guy and talk to him and negotiate $14.50 for 250,000 square feet. And I say to him, by the way, you got to change the name of the tower. I says, because people think the Sears Tower is the next place the terrorist attack's going to take place. He says, what should I call it? I said, you should call it Willis Group. Now, Willis is a British company. Yeah. Nobody knows it very much, and I'm the first American to run the place. They think Fonzie came to run Willis when I went there in 2000. So I said to him, what I want you to do, I said, we'll have a deal if you change the name of the tower to Willis. He says, Willis? Who knows Willis? Sears is a great American iconic name. I said, they haven't been in the building since 1993. So finally, he calls me and he says, all right, I'll do it, but you got to give me $1 million a year. I said, okay, I'll give you $1 million a year. If you give me $1 million worth of business, then we'll got a deal. So today, so that day we dedicate the building, and I'm on the nightly news, and they asked me how I got this done. I said, I asked. And he said, that's it? I said, yeah, I asked. I said, if you think anything's possible, then you're going to ask. And so today, the Sears Tower is called the Willis Tower, all because I asked. And I think that people should be more of themselves and just get out there and ask and get back to the way it used to be and be who they are. And I think it's a great thing for people to get back to.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Yeah, it's all in there, and it's me, and it's. I think people ought to get away from everything's filtered today, Don.
The power of being yourself. I mean to cut you off, but I have to.
That's okay.
The power of being yourself, which I'm a lot more impressed with now than I was when Bill maybe put him on. What a bad idea.
Thank you.
The power of being yourself, Joe Plumeri. You can go to Amazon this morning and buy it. You buy 2 books. That's what I think you should do. By The Power of Being Yourself, and get Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. I know it's an old book, but The Power of Being Yourself. Try and see what happens. I mean, you ask, who knows? Change the name of your building.